All right, so we're going to look at the second type of factorizing that you need to be able to do, which is factorizing by grouping. Okay, before I do that, I just want to return to the idea that factorizing is the reverse process of expansion, the multiplying out of brackets that you've done already. Okay, so if you were told to expand something like this, okay, what's called binomial multiplication, because both of these have two terms, binomial, in them. So we're going to multiply 2a plus b by x plus 3y. Okay, the way we do this is we multiply the 2a by both things in the other bracket. So 2a multiplied by x is 2ax. 2a multiplied by 3y is 6ay. Then we're going to multiply the b by both things in the other bracket as well. Okay, so b multiplied by x is bx, and b multiplied by 3y is 3by. Okay, you can write it as 3yb, it doesn't really matter the order there, you just tend to write them in alphabetical order. Okay, so that's the answer to that one. There's nothing you can simplify there, you can't add any terms, there's no like terms that you can add, so that would be the answer to that one if you were asked to expand that to multiply those brackets out. Okay, so again, what we are going to be given is something like this, and we'll be asked to get back to that. So when you're asked to factorize something, your answer should always be something multiplied by something. So 2a plus b multiplied by x plus 3y. So if you were told to factorize this, you would need to be able to get back to that. All right. So first couple of examples I'm going to look at are here. All right, so ax plus ay plus bx plus by, and I am told to factorize it. If we try to do it the same way we were factorizing previously, that highest common factor, the method we've learned already, we'll find there's nothing common to all four terms there. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 terms. The first two have an a in them, but there's no a in the second two. This has an x, this has an x, but these don't. This has a y, this has a y, but these two don't. We've got b's here, but there's no b's here. So there's no term, there's nothing common to all four of those. Okay, because there's nothing common to all four of those, we need a different method. Okay, and the method we do is what's called grouping. All right, so you look at the first two terms together, and you look at the second two terms together. And if I just look at those first two terms, ax plus ay, do they have something in common? Yes, they do. It's a. So I will factorize an a out. So I've got a brackets. When I factorize an a out, I need to divide both of these by a. So I've got ax divided by a, and I've got ay divided by a. All right, and that's the first two dealt with. Let's look at the second two then, the bx plus by. Do they have anything in common? Yes, they both have a b in them. So let's factorize the b out. So if you factorize b out, you need to divide both of these by b. So bx divided by b plus by divided by b. So there's nothing new there. It is the same factorizing you were doing before. You're just kind of splitting the question up in two first before you do that. All right. Let's finish off this factorizing then. So a brackets, ax divided by a is just x. Ay divided by a is just y. Plus b bracket, bx divided by b is x, by divided by b is y. All right. Now, you will notice that you have got x plus y here and x plus y here. And you should always get that with these factorizing by grouping questions, okay? You should get the same thing in both brackets. If you do not get the same thing in both brackets, you've done something wrong, okay? So go back and start the question again. All right, so you should get the same thing in both brackets. If you do, that means you're on the right track. All right, there is just a couple more steps to finishing this off, but same thing in both brackets here means you're on the right track. All right, so you've got A multiplied by x plus y, and you've got B multiplied by x plus y. So you've actually got x plus y common to both of those terms. Okay, you have x plus y multiplied by something, you have x plus y multiplied by something. So you can actually factorize that x plus y out. And if you factorize that x plus y out, what are you left with? You're left with the a plus b. Okay, so you put that in another bracket. And that's the final answer to that question. Okay, x plus y multiplied by a plus b. All right. If you were to multiply this out, you'd get back to this. You'd get back to your question. X multiplied by a is ax. X multiplied by b is bx. Y multiplied by a is ay. Y multiplied by b is by. All right, so we've done that one right. Now that last step might be the one that trips you up a little bit, but you'll see it's the same thing over and over again as I do a couple more examples. All right, so next one I'm going to do, I've got qx plus qy plus 4x plus 4y. Okay, so similar enough example. Is there something common to all four terms? No, there's not. Okay, nothing divides into all four of those. So I must have to split it up and do it by grouping. So let's look at the first two and the second two separately. So qx plus qy. Is there something common there? Yes, there's q. On qx divided by q, I would say for now, write that like this, they're kind of divided by, but as you kind of get used to these, you'll just go qx divided by q is x, qy divided by q is y. So you're kind of skipping this step here, okay? Do it now if you're confident enough with it. If writing this step helps for now, keep doing it. Plus 4x plus 4y, what do I have in common? 4 divides into both of those, so take 4 out. If you factorize 4 out, you need to divide both of these by 4. 4x divided by 4 is just x. 4y divided by 4 is y. Same thing in both brackets, so I have done it right. Okay, so what you are going to do now is factorize that q plus y out. When you factorize it out of both of those terms, what are you left with? You're left with the q and the plus 4. So that goes in another bracket. And there's your answer. Okay, and if you multiply that out, you would get back to your question. All right. So again, we see that final step again, and it's the same thing. So whatever that repeated bracket is, you write it once, and then in the other bracket goes whatever was factorized out of the two of those. All right. Right. Next example I will do is 3AP minus 6BP plus 6AQ minus 12BQ. So is there anything common to all 4 of these? I could factorize 3 out actually. 1, 2, 3, 4. But what you'd find is what you're left with inside the bracket is you'll still have to do this grouping with it again. Is there anything I can take it apart from the 3? A here, P here, not there. No, okay, there's no letters common to the 4 of them. So while I could factorize the 3 out there, I would end up having to factorize again, okay? A good rule of thumb is whenever you get a factorizing question and there's 1, 2, 3, 4 terms in it, it's one of these factorizing by grouping questions. Okay, in theory, yes, you might be able to factorize something out of all four, but when they come up looking like this, it is usually a matter of splitting them in two. So let's split this in two and see if we get what we're expecting. So there's 2, and there's 2. Is there anything common to the first group of 2? Yes, there is. I can factorize out the 3, because 3 divides into 3 and 6, and I can factorize out the p. All right, so 3p. I'll show my division step here. So 3AP divided by 3p minus 6BP divided by 3p plus our second 2, then I've got 6AQ minus 12BQ. So 6 will divide into both of those, and Q is common to both of those. So 6Q is what I'm going to factorize out of the second 2. So 6AQ divided by 6Q minus 12BQ divided by 6Q. All right, let's do our division then. So that's equal to 3p bracket. 3 divided by 3 is 1. P divided by p is 1, or it cancels. So you're actually just left with a there. Okay, 3AP divided by 3p is just a. Second bracket then. 6 divided by 3 is 2. P divided by p cancels, so you're just left with b. Alright, so I'm expecting a minus 2b in this second bracket, but do actually do your division and make sure you get it in the second bracket, because that gives you your kind of confirmation that you're doing it right. So plus 6q brackets. 6 divided by 6 is 1, or it cancels. Q divided by q cancels, so you're just left with a. Minus 12 divided by 6 is 2. Q divided by q cancels, so you're just left with that b, which was on top. So have I got the same thing in both brackets? Yes, I have. Okay, so I have done this right. So I'm going to factorize that repeated bracket out. So it's common to both terms. I can't divide both of these by a minus 2b. And when I factorize that out, I'm left with the 3p plus 6q. And again, if you were to multiply that out, you will get back to that question. All right. So I'll jump back to the one I kind of started at, where I was showing kind of the expansion. And I said when I multiplied this bracket out, I got this. So let's imagine we didn't have this. The question was actually factorize this. Okay, so let's factorize this. We know how to do it now, and we know now that we should get back to this. Okay, so let's just check that. So 2 groups of 2. Okay, nothing common to all 4, so I have to do my 2 groups of 2. 2ax plus 6ay. What divides into both of those? 2 divides into both of them, and a divides into both of them. So I'll factorize a 2a out. I won't show my division step here. I'll just kind of do it in my head. So 2ax divided by 2a is just x. 6ay divided by 2a. 6 divided by 2 is 3. A divided by a cancels, so I'm just left with y. Plus bx plus 3by. So what's common to both of those? It's just b. So bx divided by b is x. 3by divided by b. The b's cancel, and you're just left with 3y. Have I got the same thing in both brackets? Yes, I do. So I've done this right. I'm going to factorize that out. So because I factorize it out, just writing it once. And when I factorize it out of both of those, I am left with 2a plus b. Is that what I started with? Yes, okay, it's written the other way around, but it's multiplication, so the order is not important. Okay, so that is factorizing by grouping. The previous one is just factorizing by common factor or by highest common factor. You'll see it is just factorizing by highest common factor again. You're just doing it kind of 3 times in the question. All right, but again, as I say, whenever you get a factorizing question and there's 1, 2, 3, 4 terms in it, this is where your head should be going. It is generally one of these factorizing by grouping questions.